Okay, hello everyone. My name is Mimi Marie, and welcome to my brand new YouTube series. The purpose of this series is to share stories of people who have gone through tragedy, addiction, health issues, just all kinds of things that life throws at us, and have overcome and really done something with their lives and created something out of those struggles and things that life throws at us, right? And then have gone on to create something that's bigger than themselves. And so that brings me to welcome my beautiful guest today, who is Essential Ann. And I just want to say thank you for saying yes to coming on, because this is a brand new project for me. And as you know, there's a lot of learning that comes with that. And so I just appreciate your willingness to dance in this with me and to come on and to share your amazing story and the beautiful work that you're doing in the world. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and it's so wonderful to see you start a new journey and a new adventure. And I'm so proud of you and all that you have accomplished thus far and opening yourself up to the world.
Thank you so much. And it's so cool because we've done so many things together over the past year and a half, with the programs and events that you've held. And I've been a guest on your series twice now. And the charcuterie business that I was running. And now just it's exciting to have you be a part of this new kind of thing that I'm birthing with my work. So I'm super excited to share what you do today. So why don't you go ahead and get started with a quick introduction of yourself?
Well, yes, thank you. Yes, I'm Essential Ann. First of all, one of the things I love about Mimi is that not only is she sweet, kind, and generous, but you have an ability to be open to other people in a way that you share your story, and it allows people to resonate and connect with you. And you have a wonderful sense of yourself and your being right now. So I love that. I love that about you and who you are. So thank you. My journey started about 30 years ago. When I was about 24 to 26, I actually was going through infertility. And through that journey, I had an ectopic pregnancy. If you're not familiar with an ectopic pregnancy, it's basically a tubal pregnancy where the embryo is stuck in your fallopian tube. So they had to remove it. It was an emergency surgery, and I ended up with one fallopian tube. So after 2 years of trying to get pregnant, I wasn't able to, and I sought after a infertility specialist. And he was highly recommended. So at that time, he recommended I have a laparoscopy, which is basically an outpatient surgery. And during that surgery, he was, removing scar tissue and some things from a previous infection. And for whatever reason, he cauterized my small intestine. I didn't know it at the time. During that time, I was at the end of the surgery, I ended up, vomiting profusely. I had black and blue bruises from my crotch down my left leg. Went to the ER. They had told me I had a bowel obstruction. I didn't know what that meant, but what I do know now is that your bowel starts to twist with the scar tissue around it, kind of like a Band-Aid, kind of, wrapped around it. So I wasn't able to digest any food or anything. So everything started to come up. They sent me home, and it just started to get worse, which they probably shouldn't have sent me home. Knowing now, a bowel obstruction is very, very serious and dangerous. So I went back to the hospital, went to the hospital floor. They were monitoring me for another 3 days. During that time, my white blood cell count went up to 88,000. They had to do emergency surgery. They had to go in because basically I was dying. Once they went in, they realized that part of my small intestine became gangrene and died. So they had to remove and cut off about 2 feet of a small intestine, and they did what you call a bowel resection. So they removed it, they put it back together, kind of like your plumbing, and then hopefully it's going to work. Well, I know. And at 26 years old, I had no idea what was going on. When I woke up, I realized, what happened, because I was, under pretty much. And my husband at the time was really upset and said, they removed your small intestine. And I was in shock and disbelief. Like, what? So after that, the doctor said, oh, you're going to be fine. You're going to eat everything that you normally ate. Everything was going to work properly. Unfortunately, it did not. My bowel system, my digestive system, my hormonal system, the medication I was on a severe hormone medication. I was just on so many medications. At 26 years old, I was going through probably hormone imbalance. I had chronic diarrhea called dumping syndrome. I'd lost so much weight. I was 80 pounds. I was skin and bones. My hair was falling out. I had multiple yeast infections. I had pancreatitis. It was just numerous complications. And at one point I had to go back to surgery again because I had another bowel obstruction. And the doctor said to me, I'll never forget this, is one more surgery and you're not going to make it. Basically, I was in ICU and they were calling my family to come and see me and say goodbyes, pretty much say their goodbyes. And at the time I was, crying. I didn't know what to do. Of course, I was scared. And a nurse came in and said to me, what's wrong? And I said, basically, I'm scared, I don't want to die. And all she said to me was, have faith. That's all she said, was have faith. So at that moment, I made a commitment to my creator. And I said, you know what, dear God, please save me. Whatever I can do, I will do. I just want to live. And fortunately, later that morning, I passed gas. That was one of the things that was a positive. Once you pass gas, then basically your bowels are working. So the next morning, they took me to a regular floor, no longer an ICU. I told the head nurse, please tell the nurse from last night, thank you very much. Her name is so-and-so. And the head nurse looked at me and said, honey, we don't have a nurse by that name. And I said, yes, we do. This is what she looked like. This is her name. And she said, nope, we don't have a nurse by that name. And they rolled me up to the room. And I was basically in awe, thinking, okay, whoever this beautiful young nurse, guardian angel was, she basically said, have faith. And, that was it. I was alive. But, I've had a total of 9 surgeries.
Since then.
Of course. Yeah, since then.
Mm-hmm.
And up until most recently, 2021, I had an emergency gallbladder surgery.
I remember.
Which threw me it threw me off, because since then I became a yoga instructor. I became a holistic healer. I'd been working on myself for 20 plus years, over 2 decades. And I've been really working on myself as far as eating healthy, changing my diet because of everything that I've gone through, and really focusing on mind-body connection and all the exercises that I've learned. And so when I had to go back to the doctor, I was very resistant. I didn't want to have my gallbladder removed. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try everything holistically first. I'm going to make sure that I, clean out my my gallbladder, my liver, cleanse. I did some energy work, and it persisted. The pain actually got worse, and I wasn't able to breathe. So at that point, I went back to the hospital, the ER, and I basically surrendered because I said, you know what? I'm not an expert on gallbladder. just remove it. I've done everything that it could possibly holistically and naturally. It's not working. So I surrender. And it was probably the best thing because, I'm definitely at a better point in my life now. I'm going to be 56 years old this
That's
year.
amazing. Like, no way.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, I'm aging backwards. And I really attribute it to just being very mindful of not just what I eat, but my lifestyle in general. It starts with your mindset, waking up with gratitude, taking all the supplements I need to take, eating the right foods that are right for my body, and seeking out really proactive care with medical professionals in the functional and integrative world. So what I mean by that is functional doctors, integrative doctors, bioenergetic doctors that really work on the whole body, right?
Yeah.
Mind, body, and spirit. And so in addition to that, my own yoga practice that I still do, my own breath work and breathing exercises, and really living a lifestyle where I am busy. I am an entrepreneur. I do work quite a bit, but balancing all of that and saying no to others and yes to myself, really setting those boundaries. And that's really been the key.
Which is so amazing because you're speaking to exactly what my work does, which is, when we begin to put ourselves first, right? Which is as women, we give of ourselves so much, and often we become the last thing on our list, right?
Yes.
And so, but now, over however many years this has been for you, of prioritizing yourself, your self-care, and really making that your top priority. Now you're doing more than you've ever done, and you're giving of yourself and creating these amazing things for other women because of that, right?
Absolutely. First and foremost is absolutely self-care, which is an act of self-love. If we as women who are multitaskers and are constantly on the go, if we do not put ourselves first, we will not be there for our family, for our community, for your spouse, your partner, for the people that you love. Because if your cup doesn't runneth over, then you are on empty, basically. So allowing time for yourself, even on a daily basis, and it could be very small, from, doing some breathing for 5 minutes or reading a book or journaling. Just for me, self-care is doing something for yourself that's unselfish, loving yourself to the point where, yes, I'm worth it. I am worth it. And that my time is just for me. Right? So whether you need to lock yourself into your own room or go out and take a walk outside, but being by yourself is probably the healthiest thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is so important because sometimes that's hard to do, right? Like, especially as moms, when we have kids and we have a husband and we have a house and all this stuff, it's like, I remember being like, how am I going to get time to myself? Like, that wasn't even possible. Right. But it was as simple as waking up a little earlier, or when my kids were little, like locking myself in the bathroom for a few minutes. But
exactly.
I know a lot more now, and my kids are older now, but like, when you realize how valuable it is, you make it a priority because it's so important.
And what I wanted to share with all the women about my journey is the purpose of me going through the initial surgery was to have a family. That was my intention, was to get pregnant, to have a family. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get pregnant. I wasn't able to have children naturally. So I took the route of adoption. So adoption is an option. And, I adopted my daughter at birth. I was there at the hospital. It was an open adoption. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. And now she's 25 years old and she's in law school. And so
So
this whole
amazing.
journey of motherhood and what I thought it should look like, really turned into something really beautiful. And me, being a mother through another option. And so my journey through infertility, through illness, through motherhood has been a extremely challenging at times, but rewarding at the end and fulfilling.
Mhm.
And so it allows me to now share my story with women who are going through any kind of, illness, who've been hospitalized, to really inform women about their options and their choices about healthcare. So it's really about preventative care now.
Yeah, so beautiful. Um, you said something a few minutes ago that I want to elaborate on because I know how much it ties into the work that you're doing now and the recent cards that you created.
Yes.
You said, so when you were in the middle of your struggles with your health journey, you said you couldn't breathe. So,
Oh, so one instance, when I was in another point in my life where I was in ICU, they were actually putting a port into my body, to feed me, so an IV port. And during that time, they did a mini surgery. So they had actually inverted me so that they could insert the port through here. And during that time, I was not eating or drinking. I had an NG tube. NG tube which is a nasogastric tube. It goes down into your stomach to get rid of bile and so forth. So it goes down my nose all the way into my stomach. During that time, they had inverted me. All the liquid from my stomach went into my lungs and I wasn't able to breathe. And I'm screaming, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. This is after they had placed me vertically. I was literally screaming, I can't breathe. So they're bringing the oxygen in and I'm basically turning white and losing breath. The doctors and nurses are just shaking their head thinking there's nothing we can do. So I'm thinking I'm going to basically die. And it was the worst feeling in the world not to be able to breathe, not to be able to take a breath. And so that was one of several instances where I couldn't breathe, but I can remember and recall that very instantly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had an infection and then they had to put me in ICU again.
So is that where your work doing breath work began? Like, is that where is that what the trigger was for you becoming interested in breath work?
Well, actually, when I was going through my challenges, I had sought out alternative and holistic medicine because allopathic medicine was not helping me. So I sought out acupuncture. I took acupuncture every week. And then I found a healing center where they were actually doing energy work and qigong and meditation. And I went into the center and they did some healing work on me. And through that, I decided, I want to learn more about breathing and yoga and meditation. And so I took a course. And at that time, I wasn't 100% better, but as I was practicing and detoxing my body by exercising and moving my body and doing a lot of diaphragmatic breathing, I started to get better. And literally within 2 months, my symptoms went away. So I was able to manage my heavy menstrual bleeding. I was bleeding for 28 days straight. So you can imagine I had no energy. I was anemic. And then, of course, my chronic diarrhea or dumping syndrome, I was going through that at the same time. I was basically dysfunctional. I was in bed or in the bathroom or both. So all of those symptoms actually dissipated when I started moving my body and doing these exercises, especially the breath work and the breathing. And then I became a holistic health practitioner after 2 years, a yoga instructor. I had taught yoga for infertility, which kind of came full circle, yoga for golfers, and other things. I've just acquired all this knowledge and information on holistic health and mind body exercises, and that's how I became my journey with breathing. And it started out with just me not being well, and really I had no other choice than just to seek out all alternative and holistic avenues to help myself get better, because I did not want to have another surgery. That's what I said to myself.
Yeah, you're such a shining example of really taking the initiative and becoming your own advocate and doing the research, and not just putting your health in somebody else's hands and saying, okay, well, we'll see what happens, right? But like, I'm responsible for this. And so I'm going to do the work and the research, and I'm going to try all these different things and find what works for me, because we all need different things. And, I think there's a time and a place for allopathic medicine, for sure. But there's so much power in the functional and holistic world of health that it's such a passion of mine. So I love that you incorporate so much of that in the work that you do.
And you know what? The primary reason and my why was my daughter. If I did not take care of myself, I adopted this beautiful young baby. If I wasn't able to be there for her, I have a responsibility to this child. So I have to do everything in my power to take care of myself. And that was really my primary focus, and my why was my daughter. I have to get better. So yes, that's the real reason why I needed to seek every avenue, every holistic alternative way to get better. Because I really didn't want to take medication anymore. I just detoxed my whole body from all medications at that point.
Well, and that can be so damaging. It can be, it can be contradictory to the work that we're doing. Trying to do naturally, and then having these drugs that are basically counteracting each other. So your daughter's very blessed to have you, and I'm sure she's learned so much from you as well for herself along the way.
Yes. And again, as children, we can only provide the tools and guide them. It's up to them to whether or not to take this journey or not, as you know.
Yes, we talked a lot about that on my interview with you. Yeah.
I do want to mention about medication, and here's what's really interesting. I could have been easily addicted to medication with all the medication that I was taking, all the pain medication and all the other medications. And I think for me, it was, I didn't want to feel dysfunctional or out of control. So that made me want to get off of it. But, it did relieve the pain. It did allow me to rest. But I think for me, it was just the fact that, hey, I need to be there for my daughter. I need to be there for my husband. I need to be there for people. So being medicated just made me more dysfunctional. And I just decided I can't be on these anymore. Not that I knew they were unhealthy or not. I just didn't feel like I was in control of my mind and my body.
Yeah, it sounds like it was taking away from your ability to be present for your family, right? Because it's some of the medications are mind
altering. Correct. Yeah. So that was definitely, one of the reasons why I decided, I'm going to do as much natural as possible. And I had to learn a lot about my body, everything from every organ to how they're connected and related, as we know now with holistic and functional medicine. But it definitely did allow me to share this now with women all over the world.
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's so beautiful. And I'm always excited to see what you're going to do next. So that brings me to my last question, which is, will you just share with us, what are your offerings? What's the work that you're doing in the world now? I know you're doing a new interview series, and how can people work with you? How can people find you?
So I created a program called Women's Wellness That Works. It's on digital platform, and we do also self-care, self-love events. So as you can see, community, connection, and celebration are the 3 pillars of Women's Wellness That Works. And basically, it is a welcoming, safe, comfortable space that I create for women to share her story, and also to inspire and empower other women to make more informed health choices for themselves so that they can be responsible for their health, happiness, and well-being. So for us as women to really allow ourselves to make ourselves a priority, but I wanted to create this platform to share information and soon medical information so that, again, you can make informed health choices for yourself, because we need to be our own wellness advocate. And if you cannot, let's say you are hospitalized, then you need someone else to be that advocate for you. So it is very helpful for you to, as a woman, to really learn about your body, really learn about what are the things that your body needs. And so coming in the future, I'll be creating a women's wellness guide to optimal health. Definitely, we're going to have medical professionals on my show as well. And we're also going to continue self-care events, self-love events in right now, Orange County, but hopefully we'll be expanding to Los Angeles County and maybe San Diego County as well. So that's the plan. And, you know, the big vision and the big picture is to take Women's Wellness That Works globally and interview other women from all over the world and share their, you know, self-care techniques and what has helped them in their journey being a woman. And so Women's Wellness That Works has been a, you know, a rebirth since 2021, but it's been in existence since 2018. And it really stems from me and my journey, going through my own journey of being a woman and allowing our divine feminine essence to be really the focus, but balancing the masculine and the feminine, and allowing yourself to be that powerful, the powerful woman that you are, so that you can be the best version of yourself in your life.
Beautiful. I love it so much. I love you so much.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much. And I will put your links in the notes of this recording. Just such an honor to have you on, and I just love having each other in our lives and watching all of the things that we're up to. And I'm so excited to see what's next. So thank you so much for coming on.
I so appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to seeing you grow as well and seeing what's next for you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.